everyone, welcome to MJ Hobby Corner. I am Julie, MJ's trusty sidekick. This, of course, this lovely human beside me is MJ. And we are here today with our year-end edition of Hobby Talk. So, welcome.
Welcome to our new members here to the channel. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for all the kind comments recently. And a shout out to Ken of the West, Mark Bloom, and Deep Red, and Beef Supreme. And of course, our friend also of the channel, Maurice, who pops in every so often. But all of these individuals have been with us for quite some time. And thank you so much to all our patrons and YouTube members who also help keep my work going. So,
absolutely.
Thank you, guys. Thank you
so much. And thank you for everyone who just clicks on the video and gives it a watch and maybe a thumbs up. All of that really helps us.
We appreciate it.
It helps the channel move on and grow, and we appreciate it very much.
Very good. So it's been a busy year, hasn't it?
It has been. It's been a crazy year.
Yeah, crazy year, and especially this month has been very busy. We've had a lot of things going on, both in our lives and in the channel. So really a very busy year. So.
But a good year.
A good year.
We're ending it on a
good note.
A good note.
Hopefully.
I mean, health-wise, but, channel-wise, on an excellent note. So.
Yep, and we hope that we can continue to do this work in 2024. We hope we can continue with the channel, and that will depend on health and everything else. So, but hopefully we'll bring you some cool stuff. So why don't we get on to what we're going to do for today?
Let's do it. Well, as everyone knows, it's the holidays, and we had Santa was good to us this year, and brought us something that we would like to unbox for everyone. So let's do it. It's an RPG stuff.
Some RPG stuff.
RPG stuff.
All right, so this is the terrain set.
Yeah.
No, this is the creature set. This is actually the creature set. So we're going to start with the creature set.
All right.
And this is a D&D product. Go ahead, Julie. And look at how nice it is. It's a nice presentation. So.
Wait, there was.
Oh, yeah, we're going to have to do this. There we go.
That was.
Yeah, that's supposed to be on the bottom.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so here are all of the vinyl transfers. And I already peeled a couple. And these are completely reusable and really, really neat. Okay, so here is a creature one with some dragons. These are cool, aren't they?
Yeah, they really are.
Yeah.
They're so colorful.
Yeah. And then
I love how they're vinyl so that they just peel on and off.
Right, you can peel this off, and I'll show you the discs that you can put these on. They're very durable, very nice looking. You have letters to identify different creatures, maybe little stars. I use that primarily to identify like bosses and stuff. And you get quite a few of these transfers. Now these are all D&D 5th edition based creatures and stuff. So a lot of cool things. Look at that guy. Ooh.
I can't wait. It's gonna be fun.
I know. Well, we are going to be using this for other RPGs. Let me just show one of these real quickly. Okay, so you get quite a few. Oh, look at this guy.
Look at these monsters.
I love that.
Awesome. Is that
There's a beholder. Yeah, I'm showing some of the creatures.
Yeah.
And then let's just take a look at this one real quick. I just want to show. There's some goblins and. Are those goblins? Yeah, probably. I have some undead here.
I'm becoming more familiar because of Critical Role, isn't
yes,
that what they play?
They play D&D 5th and Critical Role, though he has his own world.
Yes,
you know, Exandria.
Still the monsters.
A lot of exactly.
Some of them.
Now these are pretty heavy.
Yeah,
they're like a very hard plastic. So you put this is a monster transfer. They come in different colors. Yeah, so very cool. Okay.
For sure.
And you get 2 sets of these multicolored bases.
You can really tell how sturdy it is, though. They are durable.
Yeah, aren't they? Yeah. So
that's what I look for.
yeah, definitely. Very, very good quality. So that was the first of the campaign accessories, and beautiful art right here in the case. Okay.
Love it. Love
Yeah,
it.
and so the case itself is magnetized, so it goes together quite nicely. All right, let's look at terrain. And this is the terrain set.
Look at how nice that looks.
Yeah, it's a beautiful display for sure. These boxes are very, very cool.
All right.
D&D artwork, beautiful. Look at that enchanted forest. Really sparks the imagination. I might use that in photographs for figures. Excellent background.
Definitely.
All right, I think this one we have, right?
I hope so.
There you go.
So these are the vinyl.
Right. So this is all the terrain, and this is the wilderness set. There's a mix here. There's wilderness. There's a bunch of little barrels, ruins. Look at all that rubble, because we love rubble.
Yes, of course we do.
Coffins. Just basically all the typical things that you need in your adventures. Look at that. It's huge.
Yeah, it's really big.
Yeah, and it's double-sided. So it has wilderness on one side and dungeon on the other.
Right. So
look at that thing.
Wilderness side, right?
Yeah, that's the wilderness.
And then you flip it over, and there's the dungeon side.
Yeah. Now let's put something on it.
Okay.
This is very hard, thick cardboard, and it's laminated. So you could probably even draw on this with make sure it's wipe marker, washable,
Dry erase.
dry erase.
Yeah.
Here it is. Okay, so here's one of the vinyl peelings, and just put it on your board fountain.
Yep.
Right. So
And then when you're done, you just peel
it right off, and I put it right back on its sheet. There you go. Beautiful.
Yeah.
So, of course, you can fill all this with cool terrain, and with those character chips, they can move about, and then you can do your monster battles, everything else. It's a very, very neat set tiles that you can connect and make either dungeons or do a fog of war system where your characters begin in one place, and as they progress,
Right.
you can put your tiles down and do like a fog of war.
Again, one side is the dungeon,
Correct.
and the other side is the wilderness.
Right, and you get quite a few of these tiles, and they come very nicely wrapped.
Yes.
So then I got 2 add-ons, 2 expansions of this terrain and the wilderness terrain with over 90 different pieces, and then the town trimmings. I always have a difficult time representing towns, so I got a bunch of town things, and these are really beautiful. Okay, and yeah, so we have plenty of, look at that, look at these ruins.
Nice.
So these are the clear vinyl that the other ones, and they're good quality.
Oh, I really like this one.
Yeah, they're the water one. Yeah. And so when I'm finished with them, I'll just put it back.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah, and these stick to materials like those boards. They're very sticky. Nest. They're a giant nest with eggs.
Cool.
We can make it like griffin eggs or something.
Sure.
Look at that. Look at all the beautiful wilderness terrain. Yeah, so we can make giant mushrooms, forests, dead trees. Okay, so this is the set. Reusable RPG battle maps. And this is the town one, because it has a lot of buildings. It has like a fountain. It has carts. So Julie, when we need you on a cart, we have ways of putting you on a cart.
All right.
We have a statue, more buildings. These could be numbered, so we know what they are. You have tables, sort of a tavern setting. Look at the boat, another boat. So, yeah, look at that, beds. These give good ideas and scale for making 3-dimensional ones, too. You got a bunch of tables. Look at that. bunch of tables with fruits and
All right.
and fish and all kinds of things. And this is the pack of 100 plus add-on scenery for RPG battle maps. Excellent. Thank you, Santa.
Yes.
I guess I've been good last year.
I have one more thing I wanted to show.
Yeah.
That I'm so
What
excited
did Julie
about because I got dice.
Dice. So Julie got some new D&D dice, some new polyhedral dice.
I dropped something somewhere.
We'll pick it up later.
Okay.
And yep.
Aren't they pretty? Look at them.
Yep. And then
I got
you got another set.
These are 2 different sets. Which ones were which? You were telling me, right? This was what?
Oh yeah, they were elemental dice. So one was
Okay.
like the element of fire, one was
Right.
element of water, then there were like druid dice.
Okay.
It was
All right.
pretty cool.
I love them so much. I'm so excited because I love dice.
Yeah, Julie's beginning her own collection, and I got a couple of sets myself.
Yeah.
So that was a really cool Christmas gift, I think.
I love getting stuff like that for Christmas.
Yeah.
That's my favorite, really. You know, it really is.
Yeah, it was a good time, and Julie has her dice now.
I have my dice.
And we have plenty of RPG material too. We don't film our RPGs because I don't have the means to film right now.
No, we really don't have
Right.
the setup to do that.
Yeah. All right. So what's our next?
Next up is Mesh Talk.
Mesh Talk.
Yes, that's been very popular. It's been something that's
Yeah,
it's done well. Those videos have performed very well. Yeah.
And I think it's an interesting way of building. You can build a wide variety of different things, including terrain, and that's what I want to show here. I have a house that I'm building.
Mm-hmm. I love the locomotive.
It's
So
I should make
awesome.
a little one of those Santa Express trains. What was it? The I forget the name of it.
Polar Express.
The Polar Express. God. Yeah, I should make a little more. All right, well, let's check out this new mesh building and the possibilities of building a wide variety of different terrain out of this plastic mesh. And here is the plastic canvas that I get. This is a 6-pack. You get it at Walmart. And then a whole collection of beads. These are more expensive, but I will be using them in a variety of different projects. So I'll get the use out of it. I'm going to be making some barrels and other terrain for the little mesh units. So those are a couple of materials that I use. So making buildings out of mesh material, plastic mesh material, is not only possible, but not very difficult. I usually like to cut my pieces ahead of time so that I can visualize the structure. This is going to be a very simple rectangular structure for the time being. I can add stuff to it later, make it a little more complex. We can make things like temples or cathedral-like structures. But one thing that I want to point out is one thing I'm experimenting with is the interlocking possibilities of the mesh. Now, it's not perfect. It's not perfect at all. You know, it has a few disadvantages, namely in that when the piece interlocks, it's a little bit off, right? That can be fixed later, I think. One of the benefits that I see with this is that it produces a very strong structure once you get it to glued. And what I do is that, and this is a very narrow structure, but what I do is then a little bit of hot glue in between those spaces and will then help to stick the pieces together and produces a fairly strong structure. One of the most interesting things about working with this mesh is that you can count the number of little squares running across or running horizontally or vertically. And with that, you can then make your cuts on the grid a little more precise to match whatever structure you're making. So that is an advantage of the grid. A disadvantage of using this interlocking technique produces a much stronger structure it does, it is uneven. So these areas have to be accounted for later, either trim them or do something else. So I connected a roof using the interlocking properties of the mesh, a skeletal structure that I can then skin and come up with some cool building designs. And they will come out very strong because as I put this together, I can feel it's pretty strong. You can then use other pieces of mesh to decorate the front of the building, however you want to do it, and it's a great little technique. This is a good way to make destroyed buildings as well. If you want to make a grim sort of destroyed city environment for war games, this mesh would do very well, I think. So for this part of the structure, I want to have a roof, angled roof like this in conjunction with this flat piece. And now here, I don't interlock the pieces because, again, when you try to interlock them like that, you're going to see that they just don't, it's going to be like lopsided, right? It's not going to fit well. So in this case, what I do is I simply bend my roof piece and use my pliers to put force on the edge. And then later, here, what I can do is add another little piece like this. I cut several pieces like this that serve as rods, and I can glue that to the very top of the roof when I'm finished. And so that produces an interesting design for a building. The application of glue. So I use cocktail sticks, which are generally, they're very inexpensive and they're larger than toothpicks. And I put my glue on some surface and collect little beads at a time to place on my surfaces. And this helps a lot to get the glue into areas where I need it. And yeah, it's very important to use some kind of applicator. Now, sometimes I have bent these, okay, just like that. And then I put something here, like a little piece of black tape. I cut it in very small strips and just tape it up, just so that it'll hold. And then I have a bent applicator that also becomes useful to get into certain angles, putting the glue in certain angles. This may work with cyanoacrylate glue, but of course it dries a lot quicker. Eventually these do foul, and you can kind of cut the tips off, and then they become a little bit wider. They can apply more glue. Marking the edges of, say, doors, the frame of doors and windows will help visualize these areas, since the white mesh, these details tend to get lost. And this way you can cut appropriately the areas that need to be cut. So using a marker to kind of mark the areas that you want cut by highlighting them helps a lot, especially when producing all the little templates for making things like creatures or armored cars or whatever it is. A sharp X-Acto knife is a very important tool, not only to cut mesh, but also to trim areas of plastic that are in excess, especially like around windows and doors. And these cuticle cutters cuticle trimmers are good because they have the bent tip, and you want them nice and sharp. That helps reach small areas. Some kind of pliers. These are my small needle nose, and I have these as well. These are a little bit larger, but scissors, a very sharp scissor is very important. I like using scissors whenever I can. There are cases where the X-Acto knife is the best cutting tool, but there are other times when I like to use the scissors to get into areas and cut things. For adhesives, you want a glue gun that either has temperature control, low and high, But you can use one that just has high temperature. But the nozzle should be very, very thin. You get the gun with the thinnest nozzle. That will help a lot for making these projects. You can use wider nozzle guns, but then you have to be very, very careful when squeezing the trigger to provide very small beads of glue for such small surfaces. Tacky glue is another favorite of mine, and some kind of cyanoacrylate glue is also very helpful. I'm using Loctite brand, but there are other better brands out there. So Gator brand sandpaper, I don't really recommend getting this in particular. I got this because of the color. It is a very nice color, but these are more expensive than your, regular sheets of sandpaper. These can always be painted to whatever color you want. But they didn't have any of that sandpaper, so I got this one instead. It's a little more expensive, but it does have a very interesting texture. And that's what I use to skin the building. And then with the X-Acto knife, you cut out your little windows. If you look at your sandpaper on, here are the two different sheets. You notice one is a lighter color, one is a darker color. This one's the 120 grit size, and this one is the 180. And so, yeah, one is for finishing, and one is for flattening surfaces. So the 180 is the finer, and that's for finishing surfaces, and then the 120 grit is a little bit thicker, a little bit bigger grit size, and that's the 120. So the lower the number, the more texture you have. To decorate buildings is these are the little parts of the mesh that are used to hang it in the store. And so these parts do create some interesting designs for a building.
Before we move on, I wanted to address this a little bit closer, because I am really fascinated by how you do this. Mm-hmm. So how long does it take you to make a simple building like that?
That building took about 30 minutes to construct. I fussed a bit with them because I didn't know what I was doing at first. So it takes a little bit longer, but about 35 minutes.
Yep. That's really not long at all.
No.
It's really quite remarkable. So it's the mesh, mm-hmm. right? And then what is covering it?
That is sandpaper. And I'm using a colored sandpaper. This, when you dry brush it, gives it a nice concrete look.
Yeah, it does.
And you can make shingles with it for the roofs.
Right, I wanted to say that's corrugated cardboard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Now, this still needs painting and it needs finishing, so I figure another 35 minutes. So to paint these figures, here is the train. I use nothing but tacky glue, a little bit of tacky glue, and then the black paint. Mix that as a paste. I don't water it down. I just mix it as a paste, and it goes right onto the straw surface there, because that is a straw, one of the wide straws. So I just pass it over, and I give it a couple of coats, and that's usually enough for everything to stick on. And then at the end, once I'm finished completely painting everything, I'm going to add some metallics to this. I take a little bit of Mod Podge or a varnish spray, matte spray, and then finish it off with that. Makes good trains.
It's just, I wouldn't even think that would be possible to make out of mesh.
Yeah, that one took longer. That was about 2 hours.
Okay.
And that's because I had trouble figuring out how I was going to put it together. Mm-hmm. But now that I have a template, I can make these in about 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. You know, it took longer at first because I was really exploring it, you know.
Sure, yeah. And then making a template, it makes sense.
Yeah. And then next will come the other railway cards, and I have a railroad being constructed in which the train will go on.
Well, I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, and then we can have a building that could stand and make a station.
Yeah.
And then have nice terrain for the fights that are coming.
Awesome.
So for right now, I am developing a story for my, this is a fantasy world in an age of gunpowder.
Mm-hmm.
No magic, but we do have some of the typical races, right?
Mm-hmm.
Elves, orcs, etc. And a little bit of steam technology as well. But it's not really steampunk either. So it's an interesting blend, I think.
I see. That sounds very interesting. Yeah. Okay.
Now, the locomotive is important because the Empire, the main sort of villain or opponent in this war, they use locomotives, trains, their railroad system to transport troops and supplies and other things throughout the Empire and throughout the battlefields. So that's why the train's going to be very important.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to be playing against the Empire.
Right, you're going to be playing goblins and orcs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2024, new year, baby. Right? I'm trying all sorts of new things.
Yeah, exactly.
Branching
out a little bit more. And goblins and orcs in this story are a little interesting, I think, because they're not necessarily evil, and they're just fighting for their cause, whatever that, Now, they're still a little bit, they can be bloodthirsty in battle and all that, but, it's an interesting, I think you'll find it interesting.
I did too. Yeah.
Now, where is this narrative? Patrons are getting little tidbits of it, little by little. This narrative is written up now in a new magazine that I am creating called Wargame Homebrew Narratives. And in this new magazine, that's where I'm experimenting with all this stuff. And it'll have maps, and it'll have a little bit more on this story. How the war came about, and the struggles and everything else. And then we'll play some games and see how the story progresses with the games. And then I'll keep adding to the narrative as the games are played.
Awesome.
So you can join me and add to that narrative and see where the dice take us. So you mentioned what games, 1 Hour War Games right now by Neil Thomas is the primary rules, but I'm also hoping to use Mayhem.
Mayhem too. Okay.
Yeah, Mayhem and maybe some Kings of War in future games with these little mesh units that I will make specifically for these games. What you will see is how these plastic canvas meshes are used to make armatures for these different things. That's basically what the houses are, is armatures.
Right.
And you can make ruined buildings out of that too.
Sure.
So that's what in 2024, at least in the beginning of 2024, a lot more mesh units.
Lots more mesh.
A lot more mesh.
It's going to be a meshy year.
And more important, some games. It's going to be a very meshy year. Yes, thanks, Julie, for that. A very meshy year.
Very meshy
I like
year.
that.
Yes.
So, and more importantly, games. We want to play some games. Once we make all these things, we want to bring some games to the channel and play and see where we could take this meshiness.
Yes. Absolutely.
All right.
I think we covered it all, didn't we?
We've covered everything in that we've done recently. And of course, there will be other building materials other than my mesh project, but that is a very big project, and I want to do a lot more with it. I want to experiment more and more. Go to where no man has gone before with their mesh.
My goodness.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know, folks. I don't even know what to say.
Maybe that eggnog was a little spiked.
Right, it wasn't even spiked. Here.
So, why don't we do a little Happy New Year wish to all our viewers, our patrons, our YouTube members for 2024. Some eggnog.
happy holidays, the rest of the holidays.
Happy
and,
holidays.
Here's to a healthy and safe New Year's. If your plans are to imbibe and enjoy the holidays, just be safe. And we'll be going out for a little while and seeing family, and then we'll be quietly home before the clock rings.
With the zoo, with the animals. Yeah, we will definitely be waiting
old,
for the new year here.
You know.
But have a happy one, folks.
Yes.
Thank you for all your support this year. Scratch Builder Monthly has been doing very well, and I will continue to make the magazine, try to make it better each time. Working with Canva a lot these days. So thank you. Thank you for all your support.
We do really appreciate all your support this past year and these past years. And thanks for joining the ride with us. And we hope you stick around and see what's next for all of us.
2024.
Yeah.
Patrons and YouTube members, one quick message before we go. We do owe you a game. We have a game that you guys voted on, Age of Fantasy, Dwarves versus Goblins. We are filming that game. Julie has, she's had a couple of pain days.
Yeah, I've had
very painful days.
A rough week, but we're in the middle of filming it, and we're
getting it done, and that's going to go on our Patreon and YouTube member platforms. And this month, patrons and YouTube members will be voting for what game they want to see, just like our YouTube channel members will. So I'll probably have a poll for the YouTube channel Tuesday. I am taking Monday off for sure. So you'll see a poll Tuesday, and that could be a 2-player game or a solo game. Okay, we're going to be playing it by ear. So
that's right. I guess it all depends on me, is what you're saying, right?
It depends on both of us, really. So, but anyway, folks, that's it. Thank you. Happy New Year. I got to go serve this dog.
Absolutely.
The king is calling me.
He is calling.
So have a great New Year, and we'll see you next year.
Take care, everybody.
Bye now. Have a great one, and happy wargaming.